What's happening, guys? Well, today we are in Haleakala National Park. I think it's Haleakala Volcano National Park, maybe what it's called. I'm not 100% sure. But we are doing something kind of special. Maybe it's one of the touristy things, but whatever, I don't care. We're going up to see the sunset off of the volcano. Supposedly it is like the sunset to see. Miss Stacy and I have already seen a couple amazing sunsets. I'll throw in a picture right here of one that we saw the other day. But the ride up is not really, I mean, it's cool, but it's cooler once you're up there. So what I wanted to do is, to kill that time, I wanted to do a CDS Rides a Gen 2 KLR650 video. I don't know what year this bike is. I assume it's rather new. It's probably like a 2015 or 2014. Rented from Mr. Mike at Maui Moto Adventures over here on Maui. And he didn't have a whole lot of bikes. Like I wanted to get a smaller bike. I was really hoping he would have a DRZ, so I would be like right at home. But I was hoping he had something a little bit smaller, maybe in the 400 category, somewhere around there, so that I'd be able to ride like more trails than street stuff. But this is where the game changes. So I met up with Mr.Curt, Mr. Minute Stop, on the first day that I had the bike. I am in possession of the bike for 3 days. The first day, met up with Mr. Minute Stop, and he took me over to some trails that he was like, well, you know, I think it'll be just fine, because I told him I wanted to ride some off-road, and he's like, well, the off-road here is like gnar. A lot of the actual trails are like super bad, and I'm sorry you guys are riding into the sun, I know, but there's nothing I can do about it. Here, look over there. But he said the trails are like super gnarly, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be on a KLR650. I don't really think like super duper gnar is gonna be good, you know, considering it's not my bike. I don't know what tires are on it yet. I don't know anything about it. And son, you can go under there anytime, thank you. So I was like, all right, well, I mean, let me get the bike and then we'll just see how it goes, you know, we'll see what we can do. So I got the bike and I was like, wow, it's kind of exactly what I expected. It is, I've been riding the Africa Twin a lot, so I'm kind of like in big bike mode, and this bike is literally the split difference between the Africa Twin and Xena. It's like, it's pretty much the middle. So I was able to hop on it and ride it no problem. It was, you know, it's just natural to ride it after riding those two bikes. Being a 650, it's a little strange. I've had very limited experience on Miss Stacy's F650 GS. I've only ridden it, you know, probably 100 miles total. But these 650 thumpers are, they're kind of a beast of their own. The DRZ and stuff likes to rev, like it wants to be in the high RPM, mid to high RPM range. That's where it has a lot of its power, even though it does tractor well. This thing, it revs incredibly low. Like, it's just ludicrous how low this thing revs. And I was riding it this afternoon. It might have actually been in a video. I don't know if the cameras were on or not. But I literally had it at like 1200 RPM, and it was just going and it just kept right on going. And it's crazy. It seems like it really loves to sit at about 35 to 4000 RPMs At 4,000 RPMs, it starts to get like that sound that on Xena tells me that it's time to shift. However, the bike doesn't redline until 7,500 RPMs. So I've been kind of riding it in between both. Like when I'm just cruising around, I'll let it go up to like 5,000 and then shift. But Kurt and I were doing a little bit of a little something that shall not be discussed. Actually, I'll probably see it in a video, but we were riding rather hard on some rather twisty roads, and I was revving the thing up to like 6,500. I wasn't going to 7,500. I'm not gonna kill Mr. Mike's bike, but I mean, I was revving it out, you know, as you would in those situations, and it was doing great. It had a ton of power at the top end, whereas I kind of feel like it's lacking at the low end. Now, keep in mind that this is most likely, I don't know 100%, but this is most likely a 100% stock motor, stock exhaust, everything. So if we're talking about a bike that has, you know, an FMF on it and has had airbox modifications and all that kind of stuff, you know, carb jetted and all that stuff, that may be a completely different story. But this is bone stock. It's got crash bars and stuff on it, but I even think that those come with these now, don't they? Pretty sure. But yeah, I am super impressed. Jeez, I did not realize you were going to be riding directly into the sun so much. I am kind of an idiot, because that's obvious as you come up here. But here's what I have to say about this bike when you take it off-road. I had a very pleasant experience off-road, though I felt it was lacking in a couple of areas. I'm not sure what the difference between the ground clearance on this and the ground clearance on Xena is, but it definitely feels like, to me, like this thing has way less ground clearance. I was bottoming out on rocks that I think even the Africa Twin would have made it over, and I really had to change my judgment as to where I rode. Now, when Kurt and I went to that first set of trails, the first thing you have to do is go up and over a big rock pile to kind of get into where you gotta go to get to the trails. And the first thing that I found out, which is again blatantly obvious, is that this bike is mega wide. like twice what Xena is. And I had some trouble getting through the first little spot, but once I figured that out, once I figured out how wide it was, and like, you know, you kind of just like learn how wide a bike is as you ride it. Once I figured it out, it was fine. I knew that I could fit through certain places, and I knew that I could not fit through certain places, and I would just have to, you know, kind of go get a good look at it, line up on it, and be like, yeah, maybe by millimeters. And a couple of the places that we went through, it was by millimeters. It did great off-road. I was really impressed. I have had the front wheel of this thing off the ground off-road several times and had no issues, you know, like kind of just hopping off of whoops or puddles or whatever. No problems with that, you know, was never super scary. I actually had the bike completely off the ground a couple of times too, and what really impressed me then was I did not bottom out the suspension at all. It just cushioned and it just kept right on going, and I was like, whoa, that is kind of nuts, because big CDS feller and big KLR650 feller, we're a big duo. We're a lot of weight. Plus I have all my junk in the back, in the rear case, top case on here, and I was like, oh man, I really hope this is okay. And then boom, no boom. Actually, it was just more of a and then a soft landing. So really impressive there. Next thing, the seat. Okay, so this KLR650 is the first motorcycle, I'm gonna have to say the second motorcycle. Okay, the Africa Twin seat is pretty amazing, the stock seat on the Africa Twin. But this seat has apparently been worn in by a couple of people, so it's all nice and poofy. as Mr. Everride would say, the poofy seat. And man, my butt is so happy. I've done 135 miles today of mixed kind of road. You know, a whole lot of street riding, so a whole lot of sitting down. A little bit of off-road and a little bit of gravel kind of stuff. And seriously, my butt is like in heaven. It feels freaking great right now. I feel like I could continue riding on for the rest of the day and it would be no issue. Another thing that a lot of people mention with these big thumpers is the vibration. Like, they get super vibey. And I don't know if it's because I'm not riding it hard and high RPMs, like just cruising down the road. But I haven't had any issues whatsoever. I haven't ridden a whole lot. I took Xena out for one, like, I don't know, I'd probably say like 70-mile ride the other day. But I haven't really been riding that much because it's been snowy in Colorado. But getting on this thing, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have the numb butt, I'm gonna have the numb hands. It's coming, right? And you know, if you guys, since you guys are riders, you understand, you know, you ride at 50 miles and then all of a sudden you get feeling back and everything. I haven't had numb anything on this bike. It's just been cruise it on and really no freaking worries. The only disappointing thing is kind of what I mentioned before. It seems like the low end grunt on this thing just isn't there. It's like that piston, that big piston, has to get some travel behind it, some speed behind it, before it really kicks in and it's got a ton of low end grunt. So like, see right here, so I'm in third gear, that's 30 miles an hour, this is full throttle. Like, that's kind of disappointing. I'm gonna let off because this is National Park Road and I don't want to get arrested. But yeah, kind of disappointing. I assume that can be fixed with several mods, because I don't think Tyler's Gen 1 KLR was like that at all. And it's also not something prevalent that I've really heard the KLR650 guys talk about. So maybe it's just like kind of like the DRZ, like when you buy one you just got to do these 4 mods immediately and it makes the bike, you know, 40% better than what it was stock from the factory. So maybe that's something to keep in mind, and if you guys know that is true, please let me know, because I'm just gonna plead ignorance because I just really don't know. But dude, I am highly impressed with this little beast. Like, Mr. Mike told me when I picked it up from the shop, it gets about 240-mile range, and that kind of makes it 9,000 feet. Hey-oh, we're going up there. 240 miles is an amazing range for a dual sport stock. That's great. I was really impressed. You really would not need to put an aftermarket tank on this KLR unless you were going to be doing some serious long distance hauls out in the middle of nowhere where you're not going to be able to get to a gas station in that kind of mileage, which I think would be pretty rare. But yeah, I mean, it's comfortable. The stupid plastic handguards need to go. These stupid mirrors are kind of really small, but they work. I haven't really found anything to complain about. I believe it has the K60 Scouts on it. Oh, I didn't realize my GPS was still on. Whoops. I don't really need it because there's no turns. But there, like, shift down, and even at 9,000 feet, there's 50 miles an hour. But I am hard locked. So I mean, it's decent, but I wouldn't say it's like super duper awesome. So, you know what? Whoops, that's neutral. We're gonna run all the way up to the top, but then I think I'm gonna go over there. I don't know if we'll be able to see the sunset though. Anyway, we'll run all the way up to the top just to show you guys what the top looks like. It's pretty cool up here. It's like the moon. Kind of a couple final words on the KLRs. Like, if you're a new to dual sport kind of person and you're considering the DRZ and the KLR like I was when I bought Xena, now that I've had a chance to ride a KLR for a couple of days and put a couple 100 miles on it, my choice even now would be very hard. I still think personally for me, I made the right choice with the DRZ because it's a little bit skinnier, because I believe that it has a higher ground clearance, and it's lighter, way lighter. That the DRZ was the right choice for me, and I just made the right choice, like, through informed accident. But depending on where you live and what you're going to be riding, dude, this KLR is a little freaking amazing. It's great. I just want to rave about it. I'm seriously impressed. This thing, I can't believe that suspension held up that well. And it has been a great experience. Everything from going extremely slow through towns, like 20 miles an hour, it just chugs, to, I mean, like pinning it out of corners, you know, like hairpin turns, going 35, 40 miles an hour, pinning it, you know, and then running through the gears going up. Like, I was impressed. This thing kept up with Curt's WR290R, which is like, that thing is just disgustingly fast. It beat this bike. It whooped this bike. But it kept up with it just fine if he wasn't like trying to run away from me. I was just kind of shocked. I really thought that it would have a little bit more power, but I know there are bore kits that you can do to it. I think there's a 690. The KLR guys can tell you, like I said, bleeding ignorance on all the KLR stuff because I don't know anything about it. But, you know, it is what it is. So, that's pretty much all I got on the KLR. Like, dude, two thumbs up. There's one, there's two. 2 thumbs up from the CDS feller. Mr. Mike, the only thing that I would like to see done to this bike when I come back next time is maybe those couple of upgrades to give it a little bit more balls. Even you know, I'm at sea level, so I can't really say that it's an altitude thing, but maybe a little bit more balls, and definitely some more dirt oriented tires. And I realize that what you were going to say is that this bike does not primarily get ridden on the dirt by people who rent it. They're primarily going to be riding it around on the street. So I understand that. That's just a personal thing. But I would definitely show up and rent this thing and ride it again. Absolutely. And I'm glad I got a chance to take it out and get a good idea about it. So here's the thing about Haleakala. So you hear that chug? That's second gear. That's 2,500 RPMs, 20 miles an hour, second gear, chug. And then if you get on it, it doesn't want to pull until about 4,000. And at 4,000, you're at about 30 miles an hour. Then it wants to pull. That's full throttle. But you hear how loud it gets? I don't know the bike enough to know whether that is very bad for it or not. But it seems to not mind, and it's an indestructible KLR, so it is what it is. Oh, that sun is so bloody bright. I wonder if you guys can hear my GPS through the mic. See, that was 5,000, and I'm just, it's like, eee. Wow. There are a lot of people up here. A lot of people. I wonder if there's a lot of people over at the other one. Well guys, this is it. That was an epic way to end an amazing trip. Tomorrow, it's back to real life. I am going to be flying all night. My flight leaves at 11:20 p.m. tonight, and I will arrive in Denver at like 10 a.m. or something like that. I was smart. I did take tomorrow off so I can sleep. But I want to give a huge shout out to Mr.Curt, Mr. Minute Stop. Thank you so much, brother, for your hospitality. Thank you so much for giving me the grand tour. I know a lot of people ask you, but I'm lucky to be a close friend of yours, and I'm happy to be a close friend of yours. So thank you very much for your hospitality, and we had a blast, man, and we definitely want to come back. Miss Stacy, I know she had a ton of fun. Oh man, I always hate the last day. So sad. But yeah, bro, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the videos as much as I enjoyed making them. This was just a great trip. It was a long one. Mr.Curt was telling me on the way back here that I'm now, what did he say? He said an international waters motovlogger, an international waters motovlog adventurer. And I think that's cool. He's like, yeah, you know, not many people will travel across the ocean to come visit somebody. And he's like, you know, it's really cool, and I appreciated that. That was a very cool sentiment. One last look over the mountain. Oh man, absolutely beautiful. But yep, another one in the books. Many more to come. Thank you guys for watching. Much love. Ever ride out. No, I'm just kidding. Much love, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.
All right, Jeff is making his exodus from Maui. How was your time here in Maui?
Oh, it was excellent, man. Thank you so much for your hospitality.
You're welcome.
Freaking great.
You're welcome.
I can't wait to come back.
Yeah.
Mr.Curt. Daisy.
Yeah.
Beautiful Haleakala. And the sexy unnamed KLR650. Stephanie?
Ebony.
Ebony. Oh yeah, all right, she is an Ebony. Definitely not a Stephanie.